In this lesson, we're going to go over the construction of box plots for a data set. So a box plot is a very nice graphical summary of a data set. You need 5 pieces of information to construct a box plot. You need the minimum value and the maximum value of your data set, and then you need the quartiles, Q1, Q2, and Q3. And then sometimes, as we have graphed down here, you might want to label outliers. I'll talk about those in a second. So for a box plot, after you've calculated your min, max, and quartiles, you create a graphic like the one we have pictured down here. So you take the number line and you mark your minimum values with a line and your maximum value with a line, and then you also mark Q1, Q2, which is also the median. This is also Q2 right here, and Q3. And then what you do is draw a box between Q1 and Q3 like what we have pictured here. And then you just draw lines extending from Q3 up to the maximum value and Q1 down to the minimum value. And then this is what we call a box plot. And then sometimes, if desired, you can label outliers. Like these might be 2 points that are extremely large in comparison to the rest of the data set. And down here we have a definition for an outlier. An outlier is usually considered a point that falls more than 1.5 times the inner quartile range above Q3 or below Q1. The inner quartile range being this distance. So it looks like these asterisks here, which represent data values, would be more than 1.5 times the distance of the width of the green box above Q3. But sometimes you might not see those labeled. You might just extend your maximum value out here. It depends on the problem situation, and for our examples, we're not going to consider outliers. Now, the nice thing about a box plot is you can immediately see where the middle 50% of your data lie. The middle 50% lie between Q1 and Q3, so 50% of your data falls between these two values. The upper 25% falls in the range above Q3 up to the maximum value, and the lower 25% fall between the minimum value and Q1. So it's a very nice graphical representation for a data set. You can also see the skewness in a data set coming out. Like this data set here looks like it would be skewed somewhat to the right. Now let's take a look at an example where we construct a box plot. So here we want to construct a box plot for the bare weight data set. So we have to calculate the minimum, maximum values and our quartiles. So let's do that with Excel. Now down here we have a graphic of what the data set looks like, but we'll just pull it up in Excel and we're going to calculate these values right here. That's our 5-number summary, and then we'll show you how to construct a box plot. So here is our bare data set, and this column right here has the weights in it, which is what we want to construct our box plot for. So we have to calculate the min, the quartiles, and then the maximum value, and then create our box plot. So the minimum value and maximum value, you can just sort the data and pick them out, or there is actually a min and max value built into Excel. So our minimum value is 26, maximum value 514, and now our quartiles, we have to use the percentile.exe function. And we want the 25th percentile for Q1. So we put in 0.25 for K. For Q2, which is the median, K is 0.5. And then for Q3, we want 0.75 for the K value. And there we go. So here is our 5-number summary, and we can use this to construct a box plot. Now, we didn't consider whether or not there are any outliers. We're not going to do that for this example. Now, to construct a box plot, you can either draw it by hand, or you can use software to generate a professional-looking box plot. Now, Excel doesn't have a built-in box plot creator, but there are websites that you can go to and input your data and have a professional-looking box plot drawn for you that you can copy and paste into documents. Now, here's the website that I recommend you use. Right here. So if we go to this website, so here we can enter our information into these text fields and then draw a box plot. So for our problem, our minimum was 26, maximum was 514. And we can type in a box plot title if we want. We can specify minimum and maximum limits for the axis over which it's drawn. Let's just put in 0 and 550. Axis title we'll just leave blank. And then we can specify an image size if we want that you might want to adjust for copying and pasting into documents. You might have to do some trial and error with that. And then do we want to display numbers on box plot? We'll check that. And then let's draw it and see what we get. We might have to change some of these values. Oh, it does want the tick spacing. Okay, so we'll put in 50 for that. And there we go. Yeah, that's a pretty good box plot right here. You could right-click and copy that image somewhere and then paste it into a document. And so we see this is a very nice box plot drawn here. If you wanted to, you could edit this with graphing, some type of graphing software to color in the box in here if you wanted, or just leave it plain like that. And you can actually click on this button here to copy it to a clipboard, and then if you open up a Microsoft Word document, you can paste it right into the document. And so that concludes this lesson on constructing a box plot.